Time for an oil change. So the first thing you want to do is you do want to warm up your engine so that way the oil will flow out easier. Now you can take it for a ride or just start it up for probably about 3 to 5 minutes just to get it a little bit warm. Once you have it warmed up, you then want to lift the bike either by your center stand, or if you don't have a center stand, you can use one of these paddock stands and you lift it on these swing arm spools or bobbins right here. You might have to just pull the bike into an upright position, get them lined up, and then just lift. And just make sure they're on there in a secure spot. Now, if you have a sump guard on your motorcycle, like I do, obviously it's in the way of the oil filter. So we just need to remove these 2 bolts here, and then there's just 2 underneath. And it uses, I think, this 6mm Allen. So once we have the sump guard off, we can slide our oil drain bucket under here, and then we can see the oil drain plug right there. That we'll need to remove. Now also you'll notice I do have this sump guard bracket here that's blocking the filter. So when we get to that step, we will have to just loosen it. We won't have to take it off though. So had to give it a bit of a foot wedge to initially loosen it. But now that I have it loosened, it should come off. Just be careful that the oil isn't hot. And that your bucket's underneath the drain plug when it shoots out. That's why it's a good idea to have some shop towels ready to go. Okay, so as I mentioned, the sump guard bracket right here goes up in front of the filter. So all we need to do is loosen this bolt right there. We don't actually have to take it off, just give it a loosen, and then we can just swing that down. And that should be enough just to swing that bracket far down enough. You can see right there. So that way we can get to the filter. Okay, so now we have enough space to take off this filter. I do have a tool like this. Simply attaches to the filter and then give it a little twist, and that's about it. And you should be able to take off the filter. And again, this time I've got the bucket under. The filter there. Okay, so while we're waiting for the rest of the oil to drain, we can go ahead and clean our magnetic drain plug here. Make sure we get it nice and clean. And what we'll also be doing is putting a new washer on it. So I got some new washers to use on the drain plug there. And then I do have this genuine Royal Enfield oil filter that we'll be putting in. And then for the oil, I do have this oil here. This is what I normally use. And the instructions, while the bike dry takes 3.9 liters, they say when you're doing an oil change, it's 3.1 liters. So I do have this bucket here to measure out the oil, and then this funnel to put the oil in the bike. So of course, before we put in the new oil, we still have to install the drain plug. And then it says to tighten to 35 Newton meters. But I have a hard time getting my torque wrench under here. Even if I get it there, it's just, I don't have enough space between the ground and under the bike to actually swing the wrench. So I just try to get it good and tight. You just want to be careful you just don't strip anything. And then to install the oil filter, they say you should take a little bit of oil and just rub it around the gasket there before installing. And for the tightness on this, the manual I think says 20 Newton meters. I know most people just hand tighten it. Again, I don't think it's too big of a deal. So as you can see on a little oil viewfinder here, there's no oil showing here. So the goal will be to fill it until we get right in between this little minimum and maximum line right here somewhere in the middle. Okay, so now if we open up the oil cap, stick in our funnel, and we're going to add the first half of the oil that we need. So this is about 1.5 liters. And as I'm getting to the end of this 2.5 liters, it should be bringing us up to 3 liters, and you can see it starting to show right in there, down at the minimum level, which our goal is to bring it up just a little bit more and to drain out the rest that's in this bucket that just stuck to the sides. All right, so now what I'm going to do is just put the oil cap back on, start the bike up, just let it run for a minute so the oil cycles through, then check it again, and should be good. All right, so that's about it. Now, one thing you will have noticed is as soon as I started the bike, the oil in that little oil viewing area just completely dropped and disappeared. That's expected. It's supposed to do that because now the oil is being pumped through the engine and into the oil filter. So what you do is after you've done riding the bike, you want the bike to sit level and upright for at least 15 minutes to allow the oil to come back down and fill back into that viewing area, and then you'll see what your levels are at. So after doing an oil change, you do want to check that, because if you're measuring by where it is in that little viewing window, once the oil is filled into the engine, into the oil filter, you let it drain back out, it might be a little bit low. So just check that, fill it up to wherever it should be, and you should be good to go. The only thing I have left to do is, because I have the sump guard, is I need to put the sump guard back on with those 4 bolts. But overall, changing the oil, pretty easy. That is it. It is done.